All right, Zero Cool Gamer here, and I'm coming with you for basically a blitz for dummies. There's a lot of blitzing. I want to say not rosters out there, but there's a lot of stuff out there that basically just says, "Hey, this is the way you should do rosters in terms of blitzing," and it's based on your actual. Let's go with how your setup is now. Now, there's certain teams that you have to put together, then there's certain teams you don't really have to. You can break them apart because you know for sure they're probably going to win. So you want to make sure that they're going that they do have some synergy with it, but that you still get a blitz win. Because the big thing with blitz is actually the multiplier. The multiplier staying close to 8, basically staying on 8.3 or at least tier 8 will get you the maximum amount of points. And the easiest way that I found to do it, even with the teams that I have set up, is going through each individual sim blitz there. And if I know for sure they're going to lose, I know for sure that there's no way in hell this is going to happen, like some of the setups that they have here, I'm definitely not going to win with the Kree minions versus the Guardians versus definitely not with Surfer over here, and definitely not this setup with Beast going around there. I'll go into the match, actually go in, unsim it, go into the actual battle, and then retreat. So that way the multiplier stays still at 8.3. I can move on to the next battle and go on again, see if I can take them or not. There are some matchups that you probably could. The big one is synergy. If the opponents don't have synergy at all, they're just a mix-up, as in terms of here, there's no synergy that's going to be put up against you. You might have a chance to do it. You might have a chance to do it while you're doing a sim blitz, but if you're going to do an actual battle and you do it manually, you'll definitely have a better chance because you know how the characters are going to react. You know how you can actually, instead of just simming, because we do know that the AI basically just takes the next available ability and that pick target and just goes right through them, boom, 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 and more than likely you might win, you might not, but if you go through manually and you actually control the battle, you can actually win. Better to go ahead and get your synergized teams up now. Put them in order, usually based on TCP for that actual team. If you know they're going to win, if you know they're going to be a set win, kind of like Weapon X, Infinity Watch, Black Order, you want to put them towards the end because they're going to get higher, higher points when you go ahead and find an opponent. So here, obviously, the point total is going to be a lot higher for Black Order than it would be, any other team going out there because they have a higher TCP. So you want to put them towards the end, kind of put the higher TCP towards the end, and you know that those teams are going to win. Now, there's certain plug-and-play characters that, are going to help certain teams out. Silver Surfer, Doctor Doom, Deathpool, Kestrel. Depending on how many characters you have, if you can get all 38 teams unlocked at the current time that's where we're at, then sure, go ahead and put them around with smaller teams that might not have a chance of winning. The main thing I do here is I'll look for teams that I know that might not be able to win, or just some leftover characters. Kind of like, let's go here. These characters, I did break up the Wakandans because they do have synergy, but they're not really that great in terms of simming, and I don't feel like manually playing their battles. So I stuck most of the Wakandans with Silver Surfer and a leftover AIM minion. So I know for sure, more than likely, they're going to get some help there from Surfer. Surfer's going to be a little bit overpowered, but more than likely he's going to win, especially against a teal gear Deadpool. Yeah, Surfer's going to go ahead and knock him out. But if it's a teal gear Wolverine, teal gear, like Kestrel, another Surfer, any of the bigger characters, Doom, then you might have a bit of an issue. So you want to go ahead and take that take that into account when you're thinking about it. Like Doom here, I separated them. I made sure to put Doom at least with one Fantastic Four character to give them some just a little bit synergy there, and what's left of the Sinister Six members that aren't being used. So finding those matchups against them can be relatively easy, but Doom can be defeated depending on which character is going to be teal geared. You kind of got to look for that. The bigger thing is the Kree. What I've noticed is with the Kree setup here that I have, I maxed out as much as I could with Ultimus just for what gear I did have him at, and his ultimate does prove to be effective, but you have to actually time it. So doing a sim battle against certain teams might not do it, but doing it manually might help you. Now, when we got these next couple of characters coming out, like Kate Bishop, who's a Blitz character, you want to get the highest amount of points. So trying to maximize every team you can is crucial. And we know the Kree is not, they haven't got a rework at all, and they're probably not going to get one for quite some time. So trying to maximize this team to the best of your ability, knowing their abilities and how to use them could be crucial in winning. Ultimus, if you do have him, if you do want to use him, I do. He is somewhat effective. His ultimate move is the only big one, and going up against somebody that does get a lot of positive effects, he can basically rock that person depending on how many positive effects they have. As Guardians, they've basically fallen off, but I've kept them together just for the time being, only because Hela is the one that basically drives the team. Mainly if the AI does keep attacking Greg, that team does lose a bit of speed. So hopefully they target Greg, and hopefully they keep lowering their speed, and you can finally stun some people with Thor and maybe just knock them out with Hela. I've tried to get Hela as far as I can. It's just Hela's probably the big one, and Loki. If you can get Loki's ultimate to go off, you do get a bit of sustainability there, because he's going to bring in some summons, and that'll go ahead and detour them from that, unless they're doing attack all enemy attacks. I teamed up Deathpool with some part of the hand, because we all know hand just sucks. So Deathpool does help to a point. You got to kind of see which teams do pop up in the actual opponents. If they do get a team that does give you some summons, then Deathpool will prove to be very, very effective, and that way you can go ahead and see her snap off even more. X-Men's proved to be somewhat decent, only because of Magic now. She's kind of improved the team just a smidgen. If you got Cyclops and Storm built up, they actually can prove effective, so you might want to go ahead and see if you can. If not, Phoenix does hold the team together if you can get her maxed up as far as you can. Zemo, I stuck Vision there as well, just in case Zemo goes up against some team where there needs another ability block. Vision's there to go ahead and go along with it. Plus, you got the two Hydra members and Grenadier there to help out. But Zemo does do most of the work, especially if you can find a team that has some summons or some minions or something. He'll be able to wipe them out pretty quick turn one. X Factor, I threw Shuri on there just for some extra defense up, just to give them some sustainability. They do get some barrier from Polaris, but you want to go ahead and give them more sustainability with it. Multiple Man does help, but you got to get his summons off pretty quick, so that way they can go ahead and hopefully they can start attacking the summons. And because the summons do get taunt, those clones will go ahead and take care of some of the damage. But if they start doing attack all enemies, it could be bad going for everybody. Weapon X, we know they're powerful, we know they're good, but we're gonna it's definitely a winnable team. So if you could put them towards the end, you could get them higher up. Having Omega Red does keep the team going. His attacks are pretty powerful. The bigger one would probably be to go ahead and push up Wolverine, so that way, in case you do go up against Heroes for Hire or anybody that does have, attack the highest damage, Wolverine can go ahead and take that. And his healing ability on every turn does help too. The Axemen, enough said. The Inhumans, I've heard they're probably gonna get a rework, hopefully, if not some different players along in there. But Black Bolt does seem to go ahead and keep the team going. Crystal makes her sustainability with her second wind, and not everybody likes this team, but it does have some sustainability with Yo-Yo and Black Bolt, with her feeding Black Bolt and feeding Crystal and feeding the other Inhumans with it. But you want to go ahead and try to get Black Bolt and Crystal up further, hopefully Yo-Yo too, because she is pretty speedy there. But Heroes for Hire, that's a definite. I did stick Ultron on power armor just because, hey, more speed, and you can go ahead and hopefully 3 turns in, you can go ahead and get Ironheart going, then Falcon, and then War Machine, because Ironheart will give the actual defense down, Falcon will knock that out, and then War Machine can go ahead and just pop that off and just go ahead and kill as many as they can if they got defense down. Ultron's there to go ahead and speed them up and give them more, sustainability if the actual bots aren't killed. This is just an oldie but goodie. It takes a while to beat people, but if you can get the symbiotes up, they're great. Marauders have fell off. I've kept them together just for the time being. I put Kingpin on here only because, hey, he does give some summons, so hopefully they can go ahead and counter that. But I don't think there's gonna be a rework for him anytime soon. He does have a lot of health when you do beef him up, but he's not really I don't want to say cost effective. He's not really effective at all. So he's kind of just there just so they could attack him and knock out an attack for him. So that way the other 3, Marauders can go ahead and just start killing off the rest. Secret Avengers are pretty good. I put a couple of shields, put the security and the other one on there, but it's really the Secret Avengers that do it. Maria holds the team together. Captain Sam gives sustainability and some more speed, and Sharon Carter's there to stun and block some people. So hopefully you can go ahead and get those abilities off. If not, Maria can go ahead and sustain them, and then bring in some shield troopers to go ahead and start attacking the crap out of everybody when they get attacked. Black Order, duh. I took off Gamora and Nebula and threw them on the Guardians to give the Guardians team sustainability. These 3 here, Warlock, Moondragon, and Phyla, can go ahead and keep the team going. Drax kind of has some sustainability just for a second, but he eventually dies. I threw the parts of the New Warriors and Jessica because she no longer has a home, and the Eternals on here just to see if we can push up points. So that way we can go ahead. This team usually wins. Icarus and Cersei basically knock the other team out. X-Force I haven't built up, but if you have built them up, they're a pretty solid team. We do know that Supernatural is getting torn apart for the Dark Hunters, so Scarlet Witch and Doctor Strange are gonna have no home for the moment, but they probably will get a couple more characters once the movie comes out, so look for that. But I'm keeping them together for the time being because they do have the synergy for the moment. This Young Avengers is a decent team. They're decent on ward defense, but I have beat them with Kestrel. Kestrel seems to take them apart. So depending on who you got, they don't do well against Secret Avengers at the moment, but at least as a punch across. But Kestrel does seem to go ahead and knock this team out. Mercenaries, basically just take them out of Black Order. I kept Hydra together because they do synergize pretty well, and we know they've fallen off in a while, but if you choose the right team and keep the summons going, and hopefully everybody stays at least somewhat sustainable, this team does win on Blitz. Fantastic Four, if you can max out Invisible Woman, she basically holds the team together. Get her barrier up so that way she could just snap off and just start hitting everybody that hits any Fantastic Four member with barrier. Aim needs a rework, definitely, but this team does take a little bit of time to beat other teams. They can punch up a little bit, mostly punch across. So if you do keep them at tier 8.3 in Blitz and you're looking to try to win them, you'll probably end up just going in and backing out. They do okay, but it does take a little while. Granted, there's no timer in Blitz, so that helps, but sometimes this team just doesn't hold up well. Shadowland, they're pretty good. They can punch across and punch up, so keeping them sustainable is good. Brotherhood is falling off a little bit, so I do tend to do manual matches with them in Blitz. You kind of gotta feel it out there. Juggernaut and Magneto do hold up the team, but Magneto does not have a lot of health. But getting them blinded, and if you can go ahead and kill a few of the members of the other team helps, but Magneto does not have the sustainability that he should, and Juggernaut holds the team up just for a little bit, but you gotta kind of run right away and knock out the highest hitting member on the other team. Otherwise, this team falls apart. Pimtech's okay. They do have some drain on them, so it does help a little bit. Ghost knocks out, reduces speed with her basic, but you got to keep getting her basic going off. So if you can, try to make sure she's going off as much as she can, especially with the striker on her. But their sustainability is not that great. Doc Ock is obviously the highlight of the team, so having them mixed in with Rhino goes ahead and clears positive effect every turn, so that helps. I've kept the Avengers together only because they do kind of work well together if you could time everything off right. I put Captain America and Hulk together so that way they kind of keep the taunting on one side and away from Black Widow and Hawkeye, so hopefully Hawkeye can snap off and blind the other team at least for one turn. Skill Military is okay to a point, and like I said, I mixed up. I put Nebula and Gamora back on the Guardians team to trying to give them at least a win in here, because you're trying to get the most wins and the most points. Ravengers have turned out to be an actual good team. This is not saying it, but the Ravengers actually do some good here. So keeping them together, their sustainability has been pushed up, and reducing turn meter for Boomer actually helps the team out a lot. Web Warriors, they're great. They do got a little bit of drain, and they do drain a lot. So you do see that healing, even though it's 1%, it does stack up over time. I put Kestrel over with Fury and Coulson and Trooper and Medic because, hey, they kind of need some sustainability. Fury's a legendary, but he's really not that legendary. And we're back to Surfer again. So the main takeaway is there is a lot of guides out there that say, hey, you should mix up this team to that team. You can do that all in well, but the main thing is getting to tier 8, having that multiplier at tier 8.3. If you have to and you're gonna lose, just go into the match really quick. Boom, go into it, retreat out, so that way that multiplier stays closest to 8.3 as possible, so you gain as many points as you can during Blitz. That's what I've learned. I know it takes a little time to go through it, but those extra couple of minutes doing it, you can get more points. Because hey, if you're gonna lose, you get nothing, and then the multiplier goes back down, and then you lose out on any extra points that you could potentially use. And then towards the end, when you're done with your Blitz run, if you do got any charges saved up, usually what I do is I take the highest TCP members there, and then I start going ahead and simming with those 5 members, because they do get the highest amount of points on there. And looking at it, yeah, they do get the highest amount of points, so that point total does go up, especially at tier 8.3. So if you do got some charges, you can use it. If you look at the other team setup and they're gonna lose, you could possibly sim it. If you know that it might be just a little bit tricky, or usually when you get to the higher TCPs, they're teal gear. So a teal gear Wolverine, when his special goes off, he snaps off hard. So you might want to rethink certain things when doing the higher TCP levels. But that point total does help a lot, especially when simming towards the end. So look at your roster, do it based on TCP if you can. If you don't have all the teams, that's fine, but just sit there and try to see which teams are the highest, put them in order, and then go ahead and try and keep that multiplier at tier 8.3. But that's my blitzing for dummies, because hey, I'm a mid-game player. I don't have every character maxed out. I don't have a lot of them on there. I try to focus whatever whatever gear I can get and whatever I can find on it by grinding as much as we can grind now to go ahead and push Blitz to the point. But if you got any questions, hit me up in the comments, hit the like, hit the subscribe, hit everything on it. But until the next video, deuces.